What's going on, Halo fans? Luke the Notable here. In this video, I'm going to be giving you my theory on how Sergeant Johnson could have survived the events of Halo 3. Sergeant Johnson is one of the most beloved characters in the Halo universe. A lot of us remember being uplifted and motivated by his speech at the beginning of Mission 4 in Halo Combat Evolved, the Pillar of Autumn.
Am I right, Marines? Sir, yes, sir! Damn right I am.
Johnson was always there to pump us up and keep us fighting throughout the first 3 Halo games. Unfortunately though, at the end of Halo 3, Sergeant Johnson was tragically killed by 343 Guilty Spark while trying to activate the unfinished Halo ring. When Johnson died, Halo lost something integral to its storytelling, and since the death of Johnson, Halo hasn't really felt the same. Halo needs a character that can slam one-liners like nobody's business, and let's be honest, Commander Palmer just doesn't do the job. Halo has always mixed gritty storytelling and themes with lighthearted and funny dialogue incredibly well, and much of the success in its writing can be attributed to Sergeant Johnson and his incredible character. So for me, and a ton of other Halo fans, much of what we loved about Halo died when Sergeant Johnson lost his life in Halo 3. Or did he? I have a theory that is 100% motivated by the fact that this beautiful man deserves to live, if only to enhance the story and dialogue of the Halo universe. If not in the main series, at least in his own spin-off Halo series, which in a Twitter poll conducted by me, many of you said that you wanted. The biggest evidence against my claim is that we literally watched Johnson die before our eyes in Halo 3. After being shot with 343 Guilty Spark's laser, Johnson goes down, and the Master Chief holds his hand as he dies. We watch this happen. But we can't even really be sure that Johnson died here. Chief never checks his pulse or any other signs of life. Johnson could have just gone unconscious. I've worked as an emergency medical technician for almost 4 years now. I just graduated with a bachelor's in nursing, and without taking a pulse, assessing respirations, or blood pressure, we definitely can't say that Johnson is dead here. He may have well just have gone unconscious. And if Johnson went unconscious, which we can't rule out with the information provided to us in this cutscene, then there is always the possibility that Johnson could have regained consciousness at a later time. He wouldn't have had much time considering the fact that the partially activated Halo ring went off shortly after, but of course, we will get to that later. We also have to inquire if Johnson could have even survived the injuries he sustained when he was attacked by 343 Guilty Spark. If we look at the cutscene, Johnson takes a burst of energy laser from the monitor for about 1 second. Master Chief also takes a burst of energy that lasts about the same amount of time as the one Johnson took. Master Chief was able to withstand a second blast without shields, most likely due to a heat reduction gel layer in his armor. Assuming Sergeant Johnson was wearing standard UNSC Marine body armor, which is the M52B body armor, he would also have a heat-reducing gel layer in his armor as well. Now obviously the armor that protects Master Chief is going to be way stronger than any armor that would be on any standard Marine. But if we look at the monitor's laser, he actually attacks the Arbiter for about 3 seconds, a much longer duration. Most elite armor is stronger than a normal Marine's armor. And if we look at the Arbiter, he is wearing ancient Sangheili armor. And many times during the story it is pointed out that the Arbiter's armor is not as strong as the other elites in the series. The conclusion that I'm taking from this is that if the Arbiter can take about 3 seconds of 343 Guilty Spark's laser, Sergeant Johnson should definitely be able to take 1 second, especially since his armor should have a protective, heat-reducing gel layer. Assuming 343 Guilty Spark's laser is thermal in nature, we can predict the amount of damage this type of weapon would cause to a person. Burn injuries, especially severe ones, will destroy the layers of your skin. With burn injuries, the 2 biggest things you have to worry about are fluid imbalance and infection. When your skin is lost, fluid will exit the body and destroyed cells will deposit waste into your bloodstream. This causes many problems, but most notably it causes hyperkalemia, which is an increased amount of potassium in the bloodstream. Hyperkalemia can lead to life-threatening cardiac arrhythmias, and this is only one of the many conditions that can arise from a severe burn injury. Now from the cutscene, we don't know how severe Sergeant Johnson's burn injuries are, assuming he has any, but for the benefit of the doubt, let's assume that he has a severe burn injury. During his service, Johnson took part in Project Orion, which is a top-secret program carried out by the Office of Naval Intelligence. Project Orion was an early attempt at creating super soldiers. Soldiers were given enhancements to their musculoskeletal, respiratory, cardiac, and neurological systems, essentially making Spartans without the fancy Mjolnir armor. Sergeant Johnson was successfully augmented to be a faster, stronger soldier, and with these new abilities, carried out many successful missions with ONI and later the UNSC. Again, we don't know the extent of Johnson's injuries from the cutscene. However, However, if we assume that Johnson suffered a very severe burn injury, I don't think it's too outlandish to say that he could power through with his super soldier augmentations. Blood and fluid loss would have an effect on Johnson for sure, but not like a normal person. Like I said before, he had augmentations to both his respiratory and cardiac systems, meaning that he experiences blood loss differently than the average soldier. I don't think it's too crazy to think that Johnson could survive with a slow heart and respiratory rate. Maybe he went unconscious as an attempt to slow the damage done to his system, gather energy, and fight another day. Chief left him there because transporting Johnson could have slowed him down and jeopardized the mission and his own life. And knowing Chief and Johnson, do you really think either of them would jeopardize the mission just to save the other? I don't think so. So at this point, we have shown some evidence that Johnson may have been able to evade death from 343 Guilty Spark's attacks, but he's not out of the woods yet. Even if Johnson survived the attack, he would still have to survive the detonation of the partially constructed Halo ring. Unfortunately for Johnson, the only way out that we know of would be to tail along with the Forward Unto Dawn. That's the ship that Chief and the Arbiter escaped on. If he wasn't able to escape on that ship, he would be stranded on the Ark because the Ark is in very deep space. So how would he come about getting onto the Forward Unto Dawn? Well, the Flood cannot drive vehicles, at least in Halo 3, and we already have evidence of many vehicles from different factions left lying around the Ark. Not only are there warthogs, but if you know where to look, you can find some ghosts, a chopper, and a mongoose. We already have evidence of other factions leaving perfectly functional vehicles on the Ark, and because the Flood cannot pilot those vehicles, they would just be left there. If in a very short time when the Master Chief and Arbiter were escaping, they were able to find fully functional warthogs, ghosts, choppers, and mongoose, I don't think it's too outlandish to think that Johnson could possibly find a Phantom. He could have made the jump back to Earth with the Forward Unto Dawn, but he of course would have to be on the Master Chief's half. If Johnson made the jump on Arbiter's half, then he would be back home at Earth and we wouldn't be doing a memorial for him at the end of Halo 3. Once Johnson jumped, he could maybe try to find a nearby planet or just set it to cruise control and let it fly off into the galaxy. Another option, and this one I think is much more realistic, is maybe Johnson found a way to go deep enough into the Ark to survive the activation of the unfinished Halo ring. Obviously, the Ark was not completely destroyed, as we revisit it during the events of Halo Wars 2. Maybe there are places in the Ark that could shelter Johnson enough to survive the activation. There are plenty of instances in the Halo games where Forerunner technology only responds to human touch. Most notably, the activation of the Halo rings can only be completed by a human. Maybe Johnson found a safe space deep in the Ark that allowed him to survive the Flood infection and the detonation of the unfinished Halo ring. Maybe Johnson could seal himself inside a cryptum like the one that sealed the Didact in Halo 4. The Ark is huge, there's probably one of them laying around somewhere. This could easily protect him from harm of the Halo ring and preserve his life. And if we take Forerunner technology this far, we can also assume that there may be ways that Johnson could heal his wounds as well. A much lazier but way more interesting explanation is that Johnson found a teleporter that transported him to another Halo ring. With how advanced Forerunner technology is, I think this could be a viable option if all else fails. Forerunners developed teleporters and portals, and it would make sense that the Ark would have portals that could transport people to other Halo rings. There's plenty of evidence in the entire Halo universe that portals exist, and I don't think it's too outlandish to think that the Forerunners would have portals from Halo rings to the Ark. And if not, I'm sure there were portals to other parts of the galaxy that Johnson could use to escape. On a different and related note, Halo 5's legendary ending showed a Halo ring in a very ominous shot, as if there was something significant about this Halo ring. What if Johnson took a portal and was currently surviving off the land on this Halo ring? Then in Halo 6, if the Master Chief ever ventured to this Halo ring that we saw at the end of Halo 5, he could be reunited with Johnson. At the end of the day, this is all speculation. However, keep in mind that this theory was brought to life with the idea of bringing back Sergeant Johnson for his own spin-off game, or even just rewriting him back into the main Halo games. I don't think I've necessarily proved that Sergeant Johnson is alive for sure, but if anything, I have proved that we cannot definitively say that Sergeant Johnson is dead. If 343 Industries ever wanted to write him back in, it wouldn't be an outlandish thing to do, especially when I have given this evidence. For example, trying to come up with a theory on how Captain Keyes could have survived would be 100% out of the question. Think about it. Not only did he get assimilated into a Flood form, but Master Chief also shoved a fist into his head to dig out a neural implant. Compare this to the death of Johnson. Johnson's body was completely intact, Johnson himself is augmented to be able to survive more than the average human, there was plenty of time to escape, and Forerunner technology is advanced enough for us to assume that he could feasibly find a hiding place for when the ring activated. These things don't mean that he 100% survived and he's smoking a cigar somewhere in the galaxy, but they do show that he could have survived. Either way, I want to hear what you guys think about this theory. Please comment down below with your thoughts on this, and maybe add your own explanations for how Johnson could have survived. I love reading your comments. It's my favorite part about making YouTube videos. If you liked this video and want to learn more about Halo, one of the easiest ways is with Audible. Audible is a service from Amazon that offers a massive amount of audiobooks to its subscribers, and Audible is currently offering a 30-day audiobook service. You'll get access to 2 free audiobooks, and yes, all of the Halo novels are on audiobook and available right now. I personally like listening to these audiobooks while online playing some Halo, and of course you can cancel anytime. If you're interested in learning all about the Fall of Reach or a resident expert on what the ladies like, go down to the link in the description and to sign up for your absolutely free 30-day trial of Audible. And if this offer didn't already sound like the most notable thing you've ever heard, the 2 books you get with the trial are yours to keep forever, even if you cancel. So click on that link down in the video description to get your 2 free audiobooks with Audible completely risk-free. Thank you all for watching. Please stay notable, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.